Hello အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါ Teacher Zany-Innovative English class ကနေကြိုဆိုလိုက်ပါတယ် So ဒီနေ့ကပေါ့နော်ကျွန်မguest speaker တယောက်ကိုဖိတ်ခေါ်ထားပါတယ် guest speaker ဆိုတာထက် pre-intermediate speaking class မှာသင်ကြားပေးသွားမယ်ဆရာကို invite လုပ်ထားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဟိုကျွန်မအနေနဲ့ခေတ်နာတော်ကြာပဲဖြစ်တဲ့ဆရာဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့ဒီ podcast လေးမှာဘာအကြောင်းကိုအဓိကထားပြီးပြောသွားမလဲဆိုတော့ဒီ English speaking ပြောတဲ့အချိန်မှာ confidence ဘယ်လိုတည်ဆောက်ရအောင်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင် English speaking ကိုဘယ်လိုကျင့်ရကြအောင်သူ့ရဲ့ real life experience တွေလည်းရှင်းပြမှာဖြစ်တယ်လို့သူစာသင်ခန်းထဲမှာလည်းဘယ်လိုမျိုးကျောင်းသားတွေကို approach လုပ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ကျောင်းသားတွေကိုဘယ်လိုမျိုးသင်ပေးရဆိုတဲ့ဟာတွေကို experience တွေ share တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့yeah in this podcast we will be speaking in English and at the same time in Burmese sometimes so now I give the time to teacher Zaisam so hello Zai how are you doing
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you as well?
yep I'm good
Great to hear.
All right. So, first of all, can you introduce yourself a little bit and about class? You know, just a brief introduction.
Good. So I am Zai Sam, and you can call me Zai. And I am very close with teacher Sani, and we'll be working together. And then I'll be teaching to the pre-intermediate students. And it's a pleasure sitting here and then meeting you again. And then very excited to sharing ways to improve speaking and ways to boost the confidence as well. So I'm very excited to share about today's topics and very keen to discuss on these things as well.
So here, you know, can you talk about like when did you start learning English? Like, you know, where you dive into English, okay? I don't think you learned English ever since you were young. So, yeah, because
Of course,
I've known you since we were like 16. I think you started learning English back then, and then where did you started it? And then when you started learning English, like how was your experience and how was your English back then? And then what about your high school? Okay, like maybe what was your English score? You know, in high school. So yeah, can you talk about it a little bit?
Oh my gosh, somehow it is hilarious to mention my English score. So I would call it like I have been learning English after finishing my high school. Back in my high school, you know what? I only got 41 in English subject. I think I was so proud of myself, even though I only got very low score back then. And then like I trying to dive into English more as soon as I finished grade 10. And then there is one place where I embarked improving English. So I started joining the diploma program back in 2016, I think, for sure. And then that was the place where I initiated to improve my English, not just only English, like connecting with the real world, and then of course meeting with diverse people, and then where I found myself there as well. So yeah, like you said a few minutes ago, yeah, I've been started learning English just after I finished my high school. And then you know that though, learning new language is very challenging, but the things that we have to have is the enthusiasm, though, a very strong determinations why you're learning that thing. And then like what are you gonna do with that language though? So I have a very strong determination, and then I have a very clear goal of learning language. So I think that's how I set my goal first to learn a new language.
Yeah, I think you know, all the listeners listening to this podcast also, they started out pretty late in their life. Yeah. Most of them started learning new languages only after they finished high school. Which for me, I started when I was 13, but then I could see a lot of like improvement in you after I came back from India. So when was the moment that you realized that, oh, I could communicate in English now? So how did it happen? And then was it an easy journey? You know, if you could explain in detail, it would be appreciated. Yeah.
I think to be able to improve this thing, we have to have, or we have to see the context here. So you have to navigate where you can improve and where you can practice English. So I have very good environment where I could improve my English. So normally I communicate in English, especially when I'm with my friends, and of course, even in texting as well. And then I think the moment that shifted my English was back in 2019, I think. That was the very first time that I started traveling outside of my country alone. I had to arrange all the journey by myself. I had to take the train. Sometimes, of course, I had to take buses and then like moving out to another country. So when I moved out to another country, um, right, the only communications that I had to take was only in English though. That was the moment that I somehow see myself that, okay, this is the place. Okay, this is where I've been looking for. Okay, I think if not here, I think that I will not be able to find a place to improve my English again. So that was the place where I find myself. And then that country was in Thailand actually.
Okay.
So I found myself there and then engaged with the native speaker, of course, a lot. And then like even friends from the same country, I try to communicate them only in English. So even though like I could speak Burmese, of course, but I try to hide my Burmese and then try to engage them fully in English. So I try to take all the opportunity that I can speak in English and then I try to use it wisely though. So that is how I find myself and then find the context and then trying to engage fully with that context as well.
What is that program like where you have to go to another country?
It was,
2019, right?
oh my God, what's the theme? Initiative for Peace, I think IFP. Yeah, IFP program, which was organized by the UWC Singapore College.
Oh, okay, got it. So
Mm.
now that I've heard about your story, the thing is like you've been learning English since 2016, but the moment you realize you could really communicate in English is like you will put on the spot, right? Where if you can't speak or if you don't communicate in English, you won't be able to, communicate with them like, in an effective way. Let's say a lot of us have passive learning, right? A lot of us have passive learning. ဒီမြန်မာလိုနည်းနည်းပြန်ပြရှင်းပြရမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ passive learning ကအရင်များတယ်ပေါ့နော်ကျောင်းသားတိုင်းပေါ့ဒီ16 19လောက်ကနေသင်တန်းတွေတက်တယ်တချို့ဟာတွေဆိုအရင်ဈေးကြီးသင်တန်းတွေတက်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ passive learning ဆိုတာကိုကတင်ပဲတင်ယူနေတယ်တကယ်အသုံးမချဘူးပေါ့နော်အခု digital design ဆရာက2019လောက်မှာဒီ program တွေဝင် join တယ်ပြောရမယ်ဆိုဒါ youth activity ထဲမှာပါဝင်တာဒါအရင်ကောင်းသွားတဲ့တစ်ခုဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီတည်းကလူတွေနဲ့လည်းနိုင်ငံခြားထွက်ပြီးဆိုကြရတော့တေးချတယ်အဲ့ဒီနိုင်ငံကဘာသာစကားသိတာမသိတာဖြစ်ဖြစ် English ကတော့လုံးဝသုံးရမှာပြီးလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့အတိုင်းဝိုင်းကဟုတ်လားသူတွေနဲ့ English လို့ပြောလာတဲ့အချိန်မှာကိုက English သုံးဖြစ်လာတယ်မပြောရင်လည်းမရတော့မပြောရင်လည်းမရတော့ကိုကြတဲ့ထိုင်နေလို့မရတော့အဲ့တော့အဓိကတော့ active knowledge ဖြစ်သွားဖို့လိုတယ်ပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်စမှာရှိပြီးသားဒီလောက်ရှိတဲ့ဟာဒီ active တကယ်ကိုအသုံးချသွားတဲ့အချိန်မှာအဲ့လိုဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်တကယ်လို့ဒီလိုမျိုးအခွင့်အရေးမရှိဘူးဆိုရင်လည်းကိုကlearning လုပ်နေတာနည်းနည်း3နှစ်လောက်ရှိပြီဘာဖြစ်လို့မထူးခြားလဲဆိုရင်တော့ကိုပြန်မေးကြည့်ပါတေးချတယ် active learning မရှိဘူး right တကယ်ကိုတင်ထားတဲ့ဟာကိုအသုံးချမယ့်နေရာမရှိဘူးမဟုတ်လို့ရှိရင်လည်းကိုတင်ကြားနေတဲ့ဟာတွေကပြောရမစို့တကယ် real life မှာအသုံးမတည့်တဲ့ဟာတွေများလုပ်နေရလားပေါ့နော် so for example ပြောရမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ဒီ vocabulary ပိုင်းလေ့လာတာဖြစ်ဖြစ်ကိုနဲ့တိတ်ပြီးတော့ဆက်ဆက်မှုမရှိတဲ့နေပေရ vocabulary ကိုအများကြီးလေ့လာတဲ့အချိန်မှာကိုတကယ်လက်တွေ့အသုံးချရမယ့်ဟာတွေကမရှိလို့ဖြစ်သွားတာပေါ့နော် so yeah that was a very good example and I think after that you continue applying for all this scholarship and then 2019 I was still in my second year of my bachelor degree back in India so I lost contact with you so I didn't know really well okay about you back then so any change in my go by alone so you know now you took part in all these activities okay you apply to all these programs and yeah I would say extreme program yeah stuff like that so yep and then what was next after 2019 what did you continue
So after that, I trying to step into the teaching journey as well. And then at the same time, you know what? Teaching solely will not improve your skill though, even if you have somehow collected the knowledge and the skill. Of course, you have to keep studying every day though. Teaching is very challenging till you found it that, okay, I'm good enough though. But which does not mean that I'm good enough, okay? But it is disabled. Like you have to keep learning every day. Find the context, the environment where you should communicate in. Of course, even when you are alone, you can someone talk to the mirror and then practice it. And then keep telling the story topics, the random topics, and then keep practicing the storytelling method. That's also very helpful though. And then I often keep it. So it's very helpful though. So back then I started joining the teaching program and then the teaching journey and then of course and then learning every day.
And I could see that you're very confident in expressing yourself and okay, speaking English and yeah, any other languages. I mean like the the first moment we met was in 2016, but when I came back from India, that was in 2020, 2021, around that time. So I could see a lot of difference in you. And then when it comes to your fashion and when it comes to like literally like everything, like physical appearance. And back in 2016, I would be honest, you look like a monkey. You look like a monkey back then. Of course, I also looked like a potato back then, you know. But yeah, because we were young, of course. But then, I could see a lot of improvement in you. And yeah, so what is that moment like? Oh, I need to be confident. I need to be confident, or I need to express myself. Okay, that kind of moment. When was it?
I think that is the moment when I realized myself to accept myself though. Self-acceptance. So when I start to accept myself, that was the moment where I find the confidence within me. And then of course that's the moment where I find my true self. So and then since then I've been never scared to talk with people, I would call it. And then also like always, even if you have very low self-esteem, of course you have to be. So this is my field. Okay, I have to have this confidence. Like the old addict, fake it till you make it. So that phrase is very helpful to me actually. So maybe in some topics and in some fields, you may not be very proficient in this thing. And then, but like, of course, you have to fake it sometimes. That is how you find the confidence within you. And then that's how you navigate your true self as well. Yeah. So first, acceptance is very important. Like sometimes we have to hide the background that where we came from and then see what the thing is waiting you on the other side. So that is the moment where you will find the confidence.
How did you start teaching? When was that year? Okay, now from now on, I'm professional. I'm a teacher now.
Started joining in the teaching field when I turned 19 years old, I would call it. And then the reason I joined teaching, it's not because I was a very expert person in that field, but it's because I would like to share the knowledge and the things that I have, and then I collected. So, and then my background reflected to me a lot as well to be standing in this position and then in this field. So I have witnessed lots of things and then many challenges, especially the underdeveloped young people. So, and then my background reflected a lot. That's why, okay, these people need to have confidence. Of course, these people need education unless they're not going to see the future. So my background somehow triggered me to be standing in this field. So my background is not very comfortable to discuss here, but my background reflected to me a lot. Yeah, that's when I started joining in the teaching field and then trying to deliver as many things as I can. And then, of course, I keep trying every day as well, and then keep learning new things every day as well, so that I can be able to deliver them effectively, not just only teaching English things, but of course, the other knowledge that they can use and apply in their day-to-day life, and then, of course, in their future as well.
Okay, so now we're in the topic of teaching. How's your classroom like? Because I've seen a lot of your students are really close with you, and at the same times, you're always in touch with them. And when I posted the previous video about it, so there were a lot of, I think students of yours, okay, commented down below, and then they say, oh, it was really fun to like learning with what teacher Zai and stuff like that. So how's your teaching method and how do you communicate with students? So yeah, what kind of teacher are you? This is a big
Okay.
question.
So I come across several classroom sites, sometimes very small, sometimes large, and then sometimes, of course, the average classroom site. So before I start teaching, I trying to see their mindset. So I trying to assess, I would call it, I use the term psychological assessment. So because we come from diverse background, right? Some of us might be facing the financial problem, and then some of us or some of the people might have very high self-esteem, but some are not. So to be able to balance this thing, I first initiate using the psychological assessment. So that is the very first step that I take so that by taking that step, when I use or when I teach in the classroom, I can somehow manage it very effectively. And then they also see themselves that, okay, when to step forward and when to step backward at the same time. So that is the movement. And then they also somehow learn that, okay, we are human beings, of course. And then in this classroom, I'm not alone though. So I am going to interact with many different people which have different background. So that is the moment that I have somehow shared them. And then of course I also give them my learning journey as well, like the hardships that I face. And then of course the somehow like good moments that I had as well. So first thing first, I first to share about myself, and then of course starting with the psychological assessment that is very effective as well in the teaching field before starting or commencing the section.
It's not just about teaching for you, it's about this connecting dots with students, and especially psychological factors. you know some students might see themselves as not enough. Some students might see maybe they are way overconfident, okay, or maybe like so I think you're very good at connecting with people, and I think you also have a very good people skill and social skill. So I would give you for that. So yeah. And I think most of your students love you, okay, for who you are, and then you can teach really well. So yeah. And in this pre-intermediate classroom, this would be like online class, right? Online class. So did you have many experience teaching online?
Of course, of course. So I've been teaching online since 2021. As soon as that
Yeah.
hit. So, but you know what? Managing in-person classroom and then managing on online, it's very different though. In some cases, it is much more easier. And then in some cases, it is a little bit tough to manage. But at the end, right, can manage it well though. So
Yeah, of course. You've been in this field for many years, of course. Some of the students, they already have, a certain level in English. Let's say some of them are intermediate, some of them are like pre-intermediate and stuff, but only on the maybe your level test score. But some of them don't dare to speak that much. So in this class, how would you, approach those kind of students? So yeah, how would be your method? Like this is a speaking class and then it's online. So yeah.
it's very important to offer them a very supportive speaking environment so that if they have or when they have a very supportive speaking environment, they're going to see themselves and then they're going to boost the self-esteem and then the confidence to speak English as well. Therefore, like offering the supportive environment is very important. And then not just only supportive environment though, you know what, giving the constructive feedback and then of course patient at the same time. Right, sometimes our students might face some difficulties to continue speaking in English. So the mindset that we have to have is patience at the same time. So by providing them the good environment, they'll see that, okay, this environment is safe for me and I shall not be scared of anything. Okay, this is the moment and that's the place though. And then of course, providing the real world scenarios and then like relating to their interests is very, very important. So teaching alone, it's not okay. So they have to see themselves and they have to see ways to interact with and then apply in the real world as well. That's why they're providing them the real life scenarios, topics, and then their interests, provoking them about like the interests that they have. That's very important. So when they have found or when they can connect with their interests, that is the moment that they're gonna see themselves. And then, okay, this topic, I have confidence. And in this topic, okay, I may still need to improve a little bit.
Yeah.
So in that moment, providing them like tools and the materials, and then of course resources that they can use and keep collecting the things that they can use in their speaking. Providing them optimal resources and then providing them the safe space is very important.
Yeah, so I really like about how you mentioned about the safe space becauseဘေးဘာသာစကားပဲဖြစ်ပေါ့နော် speaking အပိုင်းဆိုတာလည်းလူတွေကကြောက်သွားကြတယ်ဘာလို့ဆိုခဏပြောလို့ကိုယ့်ကို confident မရှိရတယ်ပြောလို့ရှိရင်ကိုလုံးရမယ်ဆိုတာဘယ်လိုလုံးမယ်ဆိုတာတော့သိတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့သူတို့မပြောရဲတဲ့ဟာအဓိကခဏသူတို့ကိုနင်းတို့ဒီနေရာမှာပြောလို့ရတယ်ဆိုတော့ခံစားချက်မျိုးမရှိရဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်လည်းဖြစ်မယ်လို့ထင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ကျောင်းသားတယောက်လည်းသူပြောထားတယ်ပေါ့နော် သူကEnglish အတန်းနဲ့အများကြီးတက်ဘူးပဲပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့ကိုရီနဲ့တင်တဲ့အချိန်မှာသူ့အနေနဲ့အော်ဒီလိုလဲလုပ်ရပါလားပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်ကဒီလိုပဲပြောဆရာမက judge မလုပ်တဲ့အပြင်ကျွန်တော်ကိုပို့ပြီးတော့ဟုတ်လား improve ဖြစ်အောင်လုပ်ပေးနိုင်တယ်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင်သူနဲ့စကားပြောလို့ရှိရင်အဆင်ပြေတယ်ဆိုတော့ခံစားချက်မျိုးပေါ့အဲ့တော့ဒီဟာဘာကိုသွားပြီးတော့ပြန်ပြောတတိယလဲဆိုတော့ငငယ်တုန်းကကိုရီဟုတ်လားကြောင်းတက်ခဲ့တုန်းကအမားထောက်ပြတာမျိုးတော့ဟုတ်လားအမျိုးတစ်ခုမေးမယ်ဆိုရင်ဟိုဆရာမတွေကနေပြီးတော့ဟုတ်လားဟိုလိုတခါတည်းပိတ်ငင်းချလိုက်တာမျိုးတော့ပြီးတော့ဒီကလေးတွေရဲ့ confidence ကိုရိုက်ချိုးရတဲ့ဟာမျိုးဖြစ်သွားနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော် maybe they were traumatized by all their past experience that's why when they grow up they just shut their mouth and do whatever they intend to do so when you shut your mouth and then do not speak up what happened you're speaking it's not going anywhere right အဲ့တော့အဓိကတော့ဒီ speaking ကအရင်အရေးကြီးတယ်ပေါ့နော်ပထမဆုံး first impression ကလည်း speaking ကနေလာတာဖြစ်တယ်ဘေးဘာသာစကားပဲပြောအတန်ထွက်ကအစလေယူလေသိမ်းဟုတ်လားပြီးရင်စကားပြောနေတဲ့အချိန်မှာလေယူလေသိမ်းကောင်းနေရင်လည်း confidence မရှိတဲ့ပုံပေါက်နေတာမျိုးလို့ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့တေချာတယ်ဒီ class တက်လို့ရှိရင်တော့ဒီ teacher ဆိုင်ဆောင်ကခဏပြောလို့သူ့မှာလည်း background ကသူအရင်ကြီးဟိုပြောမှဆိုလူတွေကိုတိတ်ပြီးမပြောရတဲ့ background ပေါ့နော်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင် at the same time ဆယ်တန်းအောင်မှ English ကိုစပြီးလေ့လာတဲ့သူဖြစ်တယ်အသက်ကြီးမှပေါ့ပြောရမယ်ဆိုကလေးမျိုးဟိုငငယ်တွေက international school တွေတက်ခဲ့တာမဟုတ်ဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ဒီကာလအတွင်းမှာသူဘယ်လိုမျိုး confidence ရှိပြောနိုင်လဲပေါ့နော် confidence နဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့ဟာအရင်အရေးကြီးဆုံးဖြစ်တဲ့ speaking မှာပြီးလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ဟာကိုယ်အားမလို့အားမရဖြစ်တဲ့ဟာကဒီ psychology factors နဲ့လည်းသူသက်ဆိုင်ရလို့ထင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့နည်းနည်းပြန်ပြီးတော့ပြောပြမယ်ဆိုတရား teacher ဆိုင်ဆောင်ကသူက psychological books တွေအရင်ဖတ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီစိတ်ပညာနဲ့ဆိုင်တဲ့ဟာတွေပြီးလို့ရှိရင်သူ study လုပ်ချင်တဲ့ဘက်လဲ psychology လို့ပြောဖူးရပေါ့နော် yeah I could still remember that အဲ့တော့လူတယောက်ကိုစားတင်တာပဲမဟုတ်ပဲနဲ့ဟုတ်လား confidence ဘယ်လိုရှိအောင်လုပ်ရမလဲပြီးလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ်comfortable ဖြစ်စေမယ့် environment လေး create လုပ်ပေးလိမ့်မယ်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင် of course real life experience နဲ့ရှင်းပြတာမျိုးတော့ okay တခါတလေကိုကထင်တတ်တယ်ကွာဟိုငါကြီးပဲဖြစ်နေရလားပေါ့နော်ငါတယောက်တည်းပဲဒီလိုဖြစ်နေရလားသူများတွေကြတော့ဘာဖြစ်လို့အဲ့လောက်ပြောနိုင်နေရလဲ but you haven't heard their experience သူတို့ဘလောက်တောင်ခက်ခဲလို့ဒီအခြေအနေရောက်တယ်ဆိုတာလူတိုင်းမှာခက်ခဲတဲ့အချိန်တွေရှိခဲ့ဘူးလေဟိုကိုရီဆိုလည်းခက်ခဲတဲ့အချိန်တွေအများကြီးရှိခဲ့ဘူးလေဒါပေမဲ့တေချာကတော့ social media တို့ဘာလို့မှဆိုရင်တော့ကိုကောင်းကြောင်ကောင်းကွက်တွေပဲပြတာများတယ်ကွယ်တကယ်တမ်းကြတော့အဲ့တော့ဒီ class ကိုကြားလို့ရှိရင်တော့ teacher ဆိုင်စာနဲ့ तू ဘယ်လိုဖြစ်ကြော်ခဲ့တဲ့ဟာလေးတွေပါ။အော်ဆရာဖြစ်နေတဲ့သူတော်မှဒီလိုဖြစ်ခဲ့ရပဲ။ငါဖြစ်နေတိုက်ဆိုင်လိုက်တာဆိုတဲ့ဟာမျိုးတွေတွေ့ရလိမ့်မယ်ပေါ့နော်။အဲ့တော့ yeah so yeah you have any last words for people who are lacking confidence to speak up
ဘောခုန teacher ဇိနေပြောတယ်လို့ပေါ့ဆိုတော့လေ့လာမှုတစ်ခုလုပ်တဲ့ဆိုတဲ့အချိန်မှာကကြတော့ all the process may not be so easy အဲ့ဒါကိုထင်ထားတယ်လို့လည်းမဖြစ်လာနိုင်ဘူးသူကဟုတ်ဆိုရင်ကိုလူချင်တဲ့ညီမချက်ကပါလေပေါ့အတိကရှိဖို့လူရယ်ပေါ့အဲ့မှာပဲ okay အမားရှင်လဲကိုကပြန်မှ amend လုပ်လို့ရမယ် so but if you do not have that clear goal of course when you find mistakes you will be just only drowning in that thing though အဲ့ကြောင့်လို့အမားတွေတော့အများရှိမှာပေါ့ဒါပေမဲ့ပြန်မှအဲ့အမားတွေကို okay this is the opportunity that I shall embrace and then အဲ့လိုမျိုးလုံးမပဲကိုကအမှန်ကိုရလာမှာပဲပေါ့နှမို့ရင်ကကြတော့အဆင်မပြေဘူးလေနော်ဆိုတော့အဲ့တော့ဘာစကားလေးကောင်းလိုက်တာ so ဒီလေ Texas လေအမြဲတမ်းလုံးနေဘူးပဲကွာ so confidence ရှိဘူးကconfidence ကခုန teacher စင်းနေပြောသူလိုပဲပေါ့ speaking ကဘေးဘာသာစကားပြောပေါ့ဥမာကျွန်တော်ဆိုလိုက်ခုဆိုရင် Burmese က very lack ဖြစ်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ confident you know right the confidence တော့oh ဒီဟာကိုမကျွမ်းကျင်နေဘူးအားကြောင့်ကျွန်တော်ပမာစကားမပြောတော့ဘူးဆိုရင်တော့ not okay because like in the real life you are going to meet with people who speak Burmese
yeah of course
so အဲ့လိုမျိုးအချိန်မှာဆိုကိုကပမာစကားမပြောရင်လည်း not okay so everybody love to appreciate to people who love their language though so through ရဲ့ဘာသာစကားကိုနဲ့ through ရဲ့ဘာသာစကားနဲ့အထီးတွေ့လုံးမပဲဘယ်လိုဆိုပြီးမှစိတ်သက်သာရရတယ်ကွာအဲ့ဆိုတော့ of course when we are learning English အလိုပဲတူပဲ so ပြီးရင် English learning လုပ်တာက not just only for the study purpose ပြင်ကိုတခြားလုပ်ချင်တဲ့အရာတွေလည်းအများရှိရယ် so the academic journey ဒီ pass တစ်ခုကိုပဲရွေးဖို့မဟုတ်ဘူးလေကွာသူက okay တခြားမှာဆိုလည်းအများကြီးအသုံးပြုလို့ရသေးနေရလို့ရှိရဲ့ so confidence is the key though that's why like of course embrace the mistake and then see the mistake as the process of improvement
yeah whatever language you're learning speaking ကိုအချိန်ပေးပြီးတော့ကျင့်ရမယ်ကျောင်းတက်မဲ့သူဆိုရင်တော့အကုန်လိုအပ်တယ်ကျောင်းတက်မဲ့ကျောင်းသားတွေကတော့အကုန်လိုအပ်တယ်မလိုအပ်တာဘာမှမရှိဘူး reading ဆိုလည်း research paper အများကြီးဖတ်ရမှာ listening ဆိုလည်းကိုက lecturer ပြောနေဟာကိုကဘာမှမဖတ်မိလိုက်ရင်အဆင်မပြေဘူး writing ဆိုလည်း essay တွေပါအကုန်ရေးရမှာ thesis တွေရေးရမှာ project တွေလုပ်ရမှာ okay speaking ဆိုလည်းကိုကဒီဟုတ်လား presentation လုပ်တာတော့အရေးမကြီးတာဘာမှမရှိဘူး okay အရေးမကြီးတာဘာမှမရှိဘူးကျောင်းတက်မဲ့သူတွေအရေးကြီးတယ်အဲ့မဲ့နေ့တူတကွာလေးလာနေမဲ့ဟုတ်လားအမြဲတမ်းပြောနေမဲ့သူကြတော့ speaking ကမရှိမဖြစ်အရေးကြီးပါတယ်ဘာသာစကားတစ်ခုမှာရေးနေုံဖတ်တတ်ရုံနဲ့မလုံလောက်ပါဘူး speaking ကိုအများကြီး focus လုပ်ဖို့အကြံပေးချင်ပါတယ်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင်ခဏပြောလို့ speaking ကဒါကိုယ့်ရဲ့ first impression ဖြစ်စေတယ်လူတွေနဲ့စကားပြောရဲဆိုအရန်ကိုချစ်စရာကောင်းတဲ့ delay ဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ language barrier ရှိလို့ရှိရင်အရန်စိတ်ညစ်ဖို့ကောင်းတယ်တခါတလေဒီမှာtime မှာ delivery လာပို့လို့ရှိရင်တို့ကလိပ်စာမသိဘူးဒီက English လို့ရှင်းပြတယ်တို့ကနားမလဲကိုကဒီက Thai က cup ပဲသိရအဲ့တော့တော်တော်လေးအဆင်မပြေဘူးပေါ့နော်တော်တော်လေးအဆင်မပြေဘူးအဲ့တော့တို့လည်းစိတ်ငင်းရတယ်ကိုလည်းစိတ်ငင်းရတယ်အဲ့ဒီ language barrier တခုကြောင့်ပဲကိုလှုပ်ချင်တဲ့အလုပ်တွေကိုမလုပ်ရတဲ့အခိုက်အတန့်တွေကိုစားချင်တဲ့ဟာကိုမစားရတဲ့အခိုက်အတန့်တွေစပင်ငက်ဆိုင်သွားမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့မှ okay စပင်ငက်ဆိုင်သွားရင်တော့မှဆိုမှကိုလိုချင်တဲ့ပုံစံကိုကပြောချင်တယ် Google Translate နဲ့ကအဆင်မပြေဘူးပြောရမှာဆိုလေဟိုနဲ့ဒါနဲ့ပြပြောokay ပုံလေးပြပြောဟုတ်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ထပ်လာလို့ရှိရင် complaint တက်ဖို့ကလည်းဟိုကအဲ့ဘာသာစကားတီးဖို့လိုအပ်တယ်ရန်ဖြစ်ဖို့တော့မှဘာသာစကားမကျွမ်းကျင်လို့ရှိရင်အရန်ကိုမျက်နှာငင်ရပါတော့အဲ့တော့ဒီ speaking ကိုအရန် focus base ချင်ပါတယ်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ pre intermediate class ကိုလည်းလာပြီးတော့တက်ကြဖို့ဖိတ်ခေါ်ချင်ပါတယ်ပြီးရင်အတန်းတက်တယ်လေဒီ basic class တွေ okay ဒီကျောင်းသားငယ်လေးတွေအတွက် young learner တွေအတွက်အတန်းတွေလည်းရှိပါတယ် so yep I think that's all for today and yeah thank you for joining this podcast so bye bye
thank you for having me
yeah so bye bye thank you